Hey guys, I'm Tim, and welcome to the Mr. Maple Show.
Hey guys, I'm Matt. Today we have the 10 at 10 for February 21st of 2023. I hope you get hyped up for spring just like we are. It's gonna be an awesome 10 at 10 for you, and spring is just around the corner. I could feel it in the air here. The cornice moss has already started to bloom, officially signaling spring at the Mr. Maple Nursery. We're excited.
If you like these 10 at 10 videos, give us a like, smash that like button. We'd really appreciate it. Put some comments in the comment section below. We check those out. And if you get an opportunity to get involved in the live chat, do. We've got an amazing 10 at 10 lined up for you. And this is just 10 of the 20 trees we're listing. So if you sign up for our weekly emails, you'll figure out the other 10 at that 9 a.m. when that email goes out on Tuesday mornings. These trees are released every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we really appreciate you.
All right, guys. So first up here on the table, we've got Watnong. This is Acer palmatum, dissectum, Watnong.
Now, what I love about Watnong is this is a plant that gives you some amazing color, but the thing that I've learned about this plant is it's so heat tolerant.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of our plants we put in our most heat tolerant Japanese maple series we did. And it's because this plant is spectacular. It gives some amazing bright colors in the springtime, and its weeping shape really shows off.
I love the colors this gets to. I mean, it's not uncommon to almost get some oranges over top of light greens. And the arching habit of this one, I think, truly makes it unique. It definitely has a very different shape than other lace leaves, and that a lot of the branching goes up and out.
Now, it's one of those plants that you get the argument, is this a red Japanese maple? Is it a green Japanese maple that has color? You know, I don't know exactly where it falls in it. I tend to side with the red Japanese maple in that argument, but it is very different from your Tamukiyamas, your Crimson Queens. The color on this is very, a more brighter, picked up orange red like Matt talked about, to almost orange pink sometimes.
I'd almost just say it's an orange maple.
Yeah.
At this point, I mean, it's super colorful.
And the fall colors can be from a bold orange to a bold red. And Watnong, this plant is just a great plant. Extremely cascading, fits in a lot of small spaces, but extremely colorful. And if you're a person who's in the heat of the South, this is a plant that'll still thrive and do excellent down there as a weeping lace leaf.
Now, Watnong comes from Watnong Nurseries in New Jersey, and great selection. It's a staple in the nursery industry. I think still underutilized though. Really good plant to be growing.
I agree. So this is a plant that sells out pretty quickly. As you see, they've got some really good sizes right now.
These are massive.
Yeah, this is almost a lot of lace parasol.
So guys, this is a lace bark elm. You get that amazing kind of lace bark element to it. All the bark kind of gets this weird fissuring to it. It's super unique and a great weeping habit to this plant.
Yeah, this was found as a chance seedling by one of our friends, Dr. Charles Keith.
I was so surprised. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
When I read that.
Given to the J.C. Rouse, and the J.C. Rouse introduced it. And for a cork bark, lace bark elm, this is spectacular. I mean, that weeping habit just makes a dynamic specimen out in the landscape. And this is a plant that I personally love. It's probably one of my favorite elms, but that weeping habit, and then when you get this wing bark on it, it just adds an extra dynamic to the weeping elm.
Yeah, so older mature ones, these really look interesting. I mean, you really get some great fissuring. It's rough bark at its craziest. It's kind of got like a whole fanned bark as well.
It is.
To it.
It's pretty awesome. So next up, we've got
Acer palmatum, Englishtown.
Yeah, and this is a cool little dwarf red. Englishtown is one of those weird plants because it is a broom, but sometimes people will find a broom off of this. so you can actually find a broom on you can find a broom on a broom sometimes if you have Englishtown out in your garden. I've seen multiple Englishtowns with the broom Englishtown WB on it. So it's kind of cool if you want to have a possibility of having a witch's broom happen in your garden. This is a cool plant that's a witch's broom already, tight compact habit, but can actually throw that mutation on again.
Yeah, this is a fun small plant, makes a great container plant or in the small area garden. You can put this out in the conifer garden, add that splash of color. I like this one. It's almost more of a purpley red too, especially in early spring. And I've had some nice orangey reds in the fall. Like I've had some really nice oranges going on this. And it's a small overall leaf, so it lends itself really well to a small container or small patio garden. And just a really good small plant to be growing. Yeah,
it's a great plant for anyone's garden. For a red dwarf, I mean, it's hard to beat Englishtown. It's a plant that, again, that one sells out fairly quickly on Mr. Maple. When plants, make sure when you're checking out on MrMaple.com, you check out quickly because many of these items will sell out. So just because you add it to your cart doesn't mean that you've got it held for you. Once you finish that checkout process and you've got an order number, then we've got that plant saved with your name on it.
Now this next one is another red dwarf that I've had a lot of people asking for to be back in stock. Today we're bringing back Acer palmatum Jerry Schwartz.
Now, I'd almost say it's a pink dwarf, but it is that pink red. I mean, it's just that unique shade of red that you can't get out of many other plants. And it's just so vibrant in the springtime. I mean, and then during the summer, whenever it goes to that green or darker colored blue-green with that red new growth, I mean, you get a really bold orange fall color out of this plant. It's also a plant that's pretty narrow. I mean, it's not a plant that's...
Yeah, it's a small columnar tree. I love the color patterns. Another one that's great for the container garden or the patio planter or a conifer garden to really add a splash of color. Its unique small shape really accentuates the leaf overall. The leaf is going to have an elongated Matsumura style leaf with a shortened center node. It looks really unique on that dense, compact habit.
Yeah, and this was a witch's broom found by one of our good friends, Billy Schwartz. And this was named after his mother, Jerry. And this plant is just spectacular on that color. And again, another great dwarf for the landscape. I mean, we've got a lot of really cool dwarfs. And then as we're coming up to the next one, we've got another cork bark type.
Yeah, this is another crazy cork bark.
Yeah, it's a liquid ambar, so it's a sweet gum called Quirky Disposition. And it's a sweet gum that has a cork bark to it.
I think our employees have had too much fun with this name. Every time somebody's going to find one or move one, they're like, hey, I'm looking for a quirky disposition. And everybody's like, you already got one. So like quirky disposition has been one that's been joked about around here. And really fun bark to this. You kind of get that lace bark elm element to it. Like it is rough bark, but it also fans out a little bit.
It does, and it's so unusual. This was found by Scott Carver, introduced into the nursery trade. And this plant is just so unusual and so different. It is just a little bit slower growing than some of the other sweet gums. So it is going to get to about 20 feet, but it may take, 12 to 15 years to get there. But this is an amazing plant, very unusual, very different. If someone's into bonsai, I mean, you could really do some amazing stuff with a sweet gum with quirky disposition.
Pretty cool one to be growing. All right, guys, this next one's going to sell out pretty quickly. We've got Acer platinoids Rezic.
Rezic is a chance seedling found by Ed Rezic. I mean, this plant is spectacular. I mean, what this plant does out in the garden, I mean, there's been multiple seedlings of Rezic-like seedlings found.
Right.
And Rezic is that Norway maple that just stays really tight and dense, extremely slow growing. I mean, it's one of the slowest growing platinoides that's out there, but it just stays narrow.
I've seen people charge more wholesale for these than we sell them retail. So these aren't going to last long. They're going to be a hit. We sell these at a reasonable price, although I have seen these sell more wholesale than we're selling them retail, believe it or not. They're very popular. They're a tree that's hard to graft because they don't put on a lot of signwood. They're very dense and tight, almost Macawi etsubusa-like. It's a reoccurring seedling there, and it's a unique plant that you can find that mutation. So there's a few variations of this, like Curly Lamppost or Carlton. Rezic's the original, and to be truthful with you, most of them are pretty similar.
Yeah, I mean, it's a reoccurring seedling that happens. I've heard rumors that it's off of the cultivar Acer platinoides columnar or columnaris, which is often used as street trees. But it may be a genetic mutation that happens on Acer platinoides overall. Yeah. I was talking with a guy about that the other day. But really unusual, really different, extremely ornamental tree. Some people say, hey, it's an Acer platinoides. Up north, sometimes people have issues with Acer platinoides seeding around.
You're not going to have any issue with this seeding.
This isn't going to be seeding on you and doing that issue.
Get some seeds, send it to me. I want it.
Yes. I've seen really, really old specimens that were probably 15 feet tall, and I've never, ever once seen any seed on a Acer platinoides Rezic style. But amazing plant, and this is an ornamental tree you're sure to love. So next up, we've got Acer palmatum Mama Fu.
Now, this was a selection made by Jonathan Savlich of Dell Laux Nursery. Now, we did a whole highlight video on introductions from Dell Laux Nursery, and Jonathan is Dell's grandson. This was named around the same time as Lillian's Jewels, so some of those great introductions. One of the very last ones there from Dell Laux Nursery as well.
Yeah, I love Mama Fu. I mean, this is one of those plants that puts out just some almost bright pinks in the early spring. And Fu actually means variegation.
Right.
And not to be confused with the cultivar Mama, which is a very different plant. Right. I mean, this one just puts on some just crazy pinks in the spring. Just almost solid pinks, and then goes into almost a Benishishahinga style,
Right,
with leaves that are a little less uniform than Benishishahinga.
I would say this one can rival Taylor for that spring color, but be even a little bit more durable. It is an highly intense pink.
Yeah, I agree. And I love Mama Fu. I mean, this is a plant that just keeps on putting on a show throughout the season, keeps giving you a lot of good pink colors. Late summer, it may get a little cream, but then that pink new growth on the summer growth, and then bright reds to pinks on the fall.
It's one of the most intense pink springs, and I think you're going to want this one in your collection. I first saw it, I think, in 08 or 09. I think it was 09 we were visiting Del Lauch's nursery, and this and Lillian's Jewel were a few of the plants that just made my jaw hit the ground. They were really doing some groundbreaking stuff there, and we're happy to be offering Mama Fu again here at Mr. Maple. Man, we're just home run hitters today.
This is the home run hitting 10 at 10.
I guess so. Next up, we've got Acer palmatum, vercades jacuspottus. Now, you've probably heard Tim and I talk about this tree before. We bought a very small one in a liner from Dave Vercade and carried it back in our cup holder. And Richard Bomar and Mike Wilson laughed at us the whole time because we had this little bitty graft we were babying, and we had this here in the cup holder of our cup. Every time somebody got in our car, we're like, watch out! We drove back all the way from New Jersey to North Carolina, just babying this little bitty graft. But that's since become tons and tons of vercades jacuspottus. It's got out in the trade a lot now. Awesome plant. One of the most colorful of that Hagoromo style leaves.
Yeah, in the springtime, this can give you some apricots, some really unique apricots with that angel feather leaf structure. And that angel feather leaf structure, a lot of classic nurserymen would call that a sessilifolium leaf structure. And what it is that the leaf is so divided that it looks almost like each individual lobe of the leaf is its own leaf. And that gives this tree such a unique texture. It doesn't look like a Japanese maple. And that's one of the reasons why we featured this on our Japanese Maple Weirdos series.
Bring back the weirdos. People really liked that term.
They
For
did.
whatever reason, when we put in weirdos, I think they thought we were going to be the weirdos. Like, me and Tim and Brian are all hyped up. We're the weirdos about this. But for whatever reason, people really clicked on those weirdos. Vercades jacuspottus, one of the most colorful, as we're saying, of that sessilifolium style leaf. This one, apricot pink, yellows. I mean, so many intense colors going on in there. It's one of my favorite Japanese maples. It's one I can't do enough of, and I think you're going to love seeing this one back in stock. If you haven't grown this one before, definitely check it out, and check out our full highlight video we did on this one as well.
And another one we recently had in the series as well, Acer shirason green snowflake.
Yeah, guys, now this one is a lace leaf version of a full moon maple, so likely a hybrid with palmatum, giving it that lace leaf quality. This is a beautiful green weeping form.
Yeah, I mean, we've got that whole full moon series. You can go check out our Japonicum series. You can go check out our Acer shirason series. And what this plant does is amazing. I mean, that cascading, slow habit with a lace leaf Acer shirason, I mean, that's pretty special. That's something that's very unique and very different. It's a selection by our good friend Talon Buchholz, good friend and mentor. And this plant stands out from the crowd. Give it some protection from the hot afternoon sun, but it makes a great plant for small places, great plant for the container garden. And with that unique full moon, I mean, you look at it, it's a lace leaf.
You can see the influence on it. So it's a little bit more rounded of a leaf, especially. It's a little smaller than some lace leaves for the overall leaf, but it's smaller. It's more compact in the leaf, but it's also more round. Like you see that full moon shape in there in the lace leaf influence. Really fun plant. It is a really intense chartreuse in the spring, one of the brightest greens. Now, it gets to some reds and oranges in the fall. I've had a lot of really intense orange on this one myself, but really a showstopper. Great for the container garden or the patio planter. But, you know, if you're looking to complete some of those full moons, green snowflakes, I can't miss one.
So this is another selection by Del Lauch's.
Yeah, we've got a Del Lauch's Intense 10 at 10 here. This was another one of those late ones that I think was, you know, another contemporary of Lillian's Jewel.
Yeah, Acer palmatum Patsy. And this is a smaller, upright dwarf. I mean, it's a smaller plant, mid-sized plant. We're talking 6 to 8 foot in 10 years. But it stays very, very dense, very, very upright.
Right.
But the leaf shape is so unique.
Yeah.
It's not a lace leaf. It's a heavy Matsumuri. Right. But you almost think it is a lace leaf. It
certainly blurs the lines between lace leaves and uprights. When I first saw this one, I thought it was a dwarf cereal. I mean, because it gives you vibes of that. But what's so crazy about this one is that intense purple border
in the springtime.
So you not only get those bright chartreuses, you get an intense, almost Tsumagaki-like border around that lace leaf almost looking. Now, again, I consider it a Matsumuri, but you get so much going on here in a small upright. And the original plant of this almost looked like a little pyramid there in the garden. So it always stuck out to me, its shape. And another one by Dell Laux. Patsy's actually Dell's wife. And great plant, again, there by the Laux family.
Amazing plant. Loved what this plant does in the garden. And this plant is a plant that's just going to continue to show off and really make a really unique tree out in the landscape and garden.
Guys, if you hadn't already, make sure to be ready for the 10 at 10. It's going to hit today at 10 a.m. If you want to get those early, you can always sign up for our email, but be ready right at 10 a.m. A lot of items do sell out quickly, so bear with us. We're always working. As you can see, this greenhouse is the same greenhouse we shot liners in a few weeks ago, and it's all 1 gallons now. So Mr. Maple is always working to up our numbers and to get things higher in numbers and higher in stock. So if things sell out, bear with us. They're always coming back.
We really appreciate you watching today. Smash that like button. We'd really appreciate it. Take care.
God bless.
And have a great day.